Deborah for the Circular Supply Chain Network. Thank you so much for your time. What's one thing that surprises people the most when they talk about the circular supply chain?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. Very relevant for this week. Yesterday, I had a chance at Nyhof to talk about taxes, tariffs, and technology. So tariffs, of course, are a hot topic no matter where in the world you are these days. Very big. Even outside of the US, because of course our supply chains are all connected, we're all global, and our items travel across many, many, many borders. And so the knock-on effect is felt acutely. The proposal I made to the audience yesterday was we can either cross borders and pay tariffs or not. And the not version is if we take what we already have in a given geography and use it again. And there are technologies that allow us to do this, to be able to resource, remake, and redirect those resources that we have. And I think it's very possible. And again, I gave many, many examples yesterday of the technology companies who are enabling this to happen. And I think that sustainability, circularity can actually be a strategy to mitigate some of the operational risks that we have. That's a huge surprise to people.
So do you predict more of the circular economy picking up here in the US, given the current geo-strategic environment that they're playing in now?
Oddly, yes, actually.
Hey.
I see with the 25% added tariff to any imports from a given country, all of a sudden the math to recover, harvest, remanufacture, repair, resell starts to become very, very attractive. One of the elements I wish people would think about more is that there are a lot of infrastructure options that we use in the linear economy, which can be used for the circular economy as well. And often we don't look around at the existing infrastructure to do that. So if I take somebody like a GXO Logistics, or GXO Warehousing, they have 1,000 warehouses around the world, all of which offer repair and harvesting services. But most people in circularity actually don't realize that, so they start from scratch. And if you start from scratch, the cost burden is going to be so high that it's not going to make financial sense too often to do this.
So it sounds like the circular economy now's a unique opportunity to explore. Now's the time right now, right?
Oddly, yes.
I was talking to you a little bit earlier, and you mentioned that sustainability is having an identity crisis around the world. And I thought that was super interesting. Can you expand on that more? What's changed? What's happening at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit odd that having a home planet becomes such a political topic, but that's where we are. And so I see a future where probably we're all going to be fine, but only because a whole bunch of scientists and a whole bunch of supply chain people got together and saved the day. But if you start to look at uses for carbon, for example, you can have companies like Air Protein, which is one of my favorite examples, that actually takes carbon out of the air and makes a complete protein out of it. And this way we can feed people and we can help the carbon crisis. But it's not the way that we would traditionally start thinking about sustainability. Just because it's the right thing to do isn't going to cut it these next couple of years, even though that might have worked these last couple of years. Now, state governments are starting to take this topic into their own hands, and that should inspire a change in behavior. But I would still encourage people to think through truly market-driven approaches for what will work for the supply chains that we're working with, and then the ecosystems that those supply chains create.
In your view, is there still economic value to sustainability? It can cut costs. Do you see that sort of through that capitalist lens? Do you see sustainability still working?
In some cases, yes. In some cases, it's tougher to draw the line without the regulatory pressure. I think I really do encourage people to look at material alternatives, especially when we're thinking about tariffs. 60% of our materials, it's estimated, can be grown with biology through biofacturing instead of mined from the planet. And so we start thinking about carbon as a building block. You're made out of carbon. I'm made out of carbon. Everything we see around us is made out of carbon. And we start thinking about it as a building block, then we can think about a free input that we can use as a resource in our supply chains. And so if we start getting really clever about it, I think there is a path there, but we've got to start looking at it from another angle.
Thank you so much for the insights. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.